Okay, good morning. Today I want to teach you something in Excel that has a very useful element in programming. In this element you're going to talk about, we are discussing the VBA feature element. The VBA basically stands for Visual Basics Application. It's an element that is embedded in Microsoft Excel to enable Excel able to run some intelligence and able to store data just like a normal database. In fact, with the advancement of Microsoft Excel, it is competing heavily with Microsoft Access when it comes to storage, because what you have here, the sheets, can actually be likened to Microsoft Access tables, which means we can store data in the Microsoft Sheets. So now, as we are going to practice the VBA in this Microsoft Access, we are going to learn how to put some intelligence in this application, and also we are going to learn how to take the information and store it in the Excel sheets, just like they will store data in the database tables. So right now, I'm going to create two sheets. The first sheet will be the welcome page, which is the interface. Then the second sheet is going to be the storage area. So right now I'm going to rename this sheet. I'm going to rename this sheet as home. I'll rename it as home. Okay. Then this second sheet I'm going to rename it as database. I can call it, let me just call it user table, where I'm going to store the data. Okay, so I'm going to get the interface first. So I'm going to highlight this part here where I'm going to put a very simple landing page. So I'm going to put some borders around it. Right, I'm going to fill it with green. Okay, background green. And here I'm going to merge this. I'm going to type welcome to user registration. We'll make it very simple such that we can actually follow it without any complication. Welcome to user registration system. Right? I'm going to go back to it, make it bold, and increase the font. Okay. Right, and perhaps I'll make it red. I'm going to create, I'm going to go to the developer button, but before we start anything with respect to developer menu, we need to save this. Okay, we need to save this sheet as macro enabled template. But before that, let's ensure that the macro is enabled. We go to more than options. Let's check if this sheet, okay, this file is macro enabled. So we go to Trust Center and click on Trust Center settings. And from there, I'm going to check macro settings. Okay, it's enabled and this is checked. That's okay, good. If that is done, we're happy. Then let's save this file. Okay, so whatever we do will be macro enabled. So I'm going to save it in my document. You can save it anywhere according to your system files. And then I'm going to name it as user range. Just use user range. I want to come and type, okay, save type. And I want to go for Excel macro enabled template. Go for this one, then you can save it. In this way, whatever I'll do to this app is going to be saved with macro enabled there. So I'm going to go now to developer there. I'll go to developer. Then I'm going to go to insert, so I can put the two buttons I want here. Okay. Need this button, so let's just wait for it to give us the provision for naming the button. So I'm going to name this button as user form. Right? Click OK. Then I'm going to edit this, okay, so I can put the actual words I want. So I want it to read user, okay, user form. Right, it's done. And also take another one. Now this one is going to be quitting the application. So I'm going to call it quit. Okay. Then I'm going to edit it so that I can put text. I'm going to edit quit. Okay. So I've put those buttons. Okay, these buttons in. So right now they are doing nothing. Even if I click on them, they will say there is no macro variable, which is true. So I need to put the code behind it. So for this one, I need to go to assign macro, and then I'm going to edit this. Since there is nothing inside it, so I'll just go straight to the button called new, so I can put the code that will be quitting the application according to what I want. So I'm going to put application. That's the code that we use for quitting. Application dot quit. Okay, this is going to be quitting. Okay, the application. So I'll click on save and I'll close this. Okay, close it. Put what I want there. Okay, so application dot quit. So this button, every time I click on it, it will be quitting the code. Right. So let me just go back to it and open it. Okay, it is user what? Okay, my document. So let's look for user. Okay, let's just go to customized folder to look for it. Okay, the customized folder, the customized folder, the customized folder. Okay, see. Okay, click on it, run it. Okay, so since we clicked on close, you can just quickly go back to what you're looking for and able to open it. Right, so let's quickly, okay, open it. We are back. So this is now the form that you want. So if you click on it again to close, all right. So now what we do is we now to put the code that, okay, that if you click on this one, you go to the form that will enable us to do the user interface. But for us to do that, we need to create a form that, okay, will be popping once you click on the user form. So you go to developer there, go to developer, then Microsoft there. So what you do, we are going to insert a sheet. So go to insert, then rather I'm going to set the user form. So we've done that already. So now let's just put the details we want. We just need a few details for demonstration sake. So we won't complicate a lot of things there. We just need 2 details so that we're able to show what you're talking about. So the text box, I'll put the text box here. And also I'm going to put the text box. So this is basically how you design, okay, you design the interface for the user form. Right? So now what next is to rename these things that I put there. So click on label and you go to caption. So this caption is supposed to read username. So put username there. In this one caption, it will be user ID. Okay, user ID. this one we're going to also name it. We'll actually go straight to the name and put txt name. Right. So also do the same for this one. We'll name it as txt id. Okay. Then thereafter we're going to put some buttons there. We'll click on this one. We'll put buttons for adding. Okay, we'll put another button. Okay, for clearing. Okay, we'll put another button for next. Okay, and I'm going to put another button for delete in case you want to delete. We'll put another button. Sorry, for this is for previous sign. I'm going to name them, don't worry, later on, but in the meantime I'll just put buttons randomly, then I'm going to name them according to what I want them to do. So in the meantime, I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to name it as CMD. I'm going to name the CMD add. Then the caption will be adding this one. Then this one I'll call it. I'll name it as CMD, right? Clear. In case I want to clear the content. Okay, then I'm going to put the caption. It will be clear. Okay, this one I'll name it CMD next. Then I'm going to put next here. Okay, so I'll just push it a bit up there. And this one I'll call it CMD previous. I just put previous. And under the caption, that's why I'm going to put the full name previous. Okay, then this one I'll name it as delete. CMD delete. Okay, then the caption will be delete. Okay, this one I want to name it as CMD close. Okay, CMD close, because this will be closing. Then the caption I will say close. Okay, so this is our interface. It's doing nothing at the moment because the code is not yet inserted behind these items. So let me just push them this side, they can look nice. Okay, so this is our user form. You can also name this user form as, you can just say user form, and then under caption you can say user registration. User registration. So I need to save this, right? So I'll save it. Okay, so I'll go for macro enable template, then save. Okay, so this is saved. So if you click on run, this is how it's going to run. So first of all, let me just quickly set up the code I need to put there. So I'll go to macro. Now under here I'm going to put user, okay, user form. So it has to be exactly the same spelling as you typed it there. And then I'll say show. So now what it's going to be doing, once I click on that button, it will be showing the form that we've created. So I'll save this one, I'll close it. So right now if I click on user, this is what will be popping up. Then you can enter the details from there, and then the data will be saved in the user sheet. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to put the code, okay, in here, so that once the program starts, it will be able to execute what is required on those buttons. So put the data there, and able to add the data in this sheet. So right now what I'm going to do, I'm going to speed it up so that we can actually do this quickly. So I'm going to get some data from here. Already we have created this, I've created this form already in some application. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this information here, and I'm going to edit it according to the system that we are working on. So I'm going to change this to initialize, because we want to initialize every time the form loads. This should take place. Alright, so I'm going to paste here and make changes. What I want is the data should be starting from row 2, because the first row I'm going to reserve it for the what labels. So I'm going to say in this case txt id, sorry, txt name will be starting from row 1, in the cell 1, and then the txt id will start from cell 1, 2. Right. So this is going to be controlled in what? In the user form. Okay, so user form. Then I'm going to, okay, it's a text box, yes. Then every time that the program opens the form, it's supposed to come to the txt name. Okay, so I'll save this. So what will come is, have you seen? So now every time that the form loads, it's supposed to put the focus in this. Okay, so if it was maybe, for example, we did txt id, then every time that we play this, then it's supposed to put the focus in the id. But what you want is, you want to start with the name, then enter the id. So I'm going to get back to the focus of the name. Okay, the focus of what? Name, like that. So this is done. So every time the form loads, it will be putting the data in row 2, and this is the data that will be put there, and so on and so forth. So right now, I want to, remember I said you're supposed to start from row 2. I want to reserve this. Okay, the first row for header. So I'm going to say user, okay, username. Then in here, there will be user ID. Okay, so just pick this board. Okay, make board. Just increase. Okay, so I want my data to be coming in here. Okay, so I go to home, put the borders around them. Yeah, so this is what I want. I want data to come in here. So I'll send it. So I've done the table. So every time that we said that's supposed to come in here, going down. Right, so I'll get back to the Visual Basics there. So what I want to do next now, I want to put code in the add. Right. So let's say I want to speed it up. I've done something in the VBA already, which can do what we're talking about. So without wasting much of the time, I like to get the code and just do some edits that we can move pretty fast. Right, so come here, then I'll put the code. So what I want is, in this case we are working with sheet 2, so I'll put sheet 2 there. Sheet 2 is the one that is going to use a table, then it is going to do the for loop, and then here I want it to consider the ID, right? Text ID, then also there. So if the text ID is empty, then you're supposed to put data there. If the text ID is not empty, remember also say it's supposed to come into there. Then if it's not empty, you must put the data. If it's empty, you actually put the data in there. So what I'm talking about is if the text is found empty, it means that row is free, then put data there. If the text is not found empty, then you're supposed to say duplicate entry already exists. Then you're supposed to pop up the box there. So since we are talking about user registration, so I need to also change that, okay, text on the message box to say this is user registration. So it will be doing this. If the count is above 1, it means, okay, we can actually allow, okay, these things, okay, they are empty in other words, okay. And then if it's not, it means we are putting the data where the data exists. So you're supposed to be given this message, duplicate entry already exists, so you must not put data there. Otherwise, if it is empty, then you must put this data there. So you need to put txt, okay, txt name there, txt name, then txt id supposed to go there. Mention that this goes into 2, then this name just like that, right? And also here we put id. Okay, so this is it. Now one thing about this one, since we'll be getting the data in the second sheet and the main interface is in the first sheet, so the data will be put in the first sheet in this way. So to make sure that the data goes into the next sheet, which is not active, we need to put a code here to activate that sheet. So say sheet2 dot active. So this code, this sheet can be active and this data can go in it. Thereafter, we can activate sheet 1. Okay, we can activate sheet 1 so that we can get back to the main interface. Like that. So what will happen is it's going to activate sheet 2, put the data, then come back. So let's see how this is going to work. So if you click on this one, when I put Perry there as the username, Perry1, I put the ID there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I click on add, have you seen? It is going to activate sheet 2 then come back. So let's see if data is going to that. Yes. So now it has been posted there. PERLONGS has gone into this sheet. So this is how you put the data there. But one thing that you need to also work on, if we click on, okay, add, it's supposed to clear the text. Right. Look at this one. If I put, for example, Peter Ngoma, I put Peter Ngoma there, then I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? I mean 1, 4, 5, 7, 8. If I click on add, this data is supposed to clear automatically. Then you've got the chance to put another word, right? So if we check there now, find that Peter has been posted there also. So let's work on that one. Let's work on resetting. So we go to Visual Basics. Okay, go to Visual Basics. So what I want is I want to take the reset function that will be resetting things. Okay, we don't want. Okay, so the reset is there. So we're going to have this code. Okay, we're going to have that code so I can speed it up and just quickly handle this without difficulty. So since there's a reset copy, I'm going to just put a reset there. So we're going to reset, you need to reset the name every time that you click on add. And you need to reset the txt ID every time that you click on add. Okay, so the control is in the user form, so you must remember that you work on that one, otherwise it won't work. Okay, user form, that's what the reset is. So user form, and then we focus on the name. Every time that we set, we're focusing on the name. So save this one. Let's see how this is going to work in March. Again, I'm going to put carry one, and I'll put the ID. So if I click on add, it's supposed to do this, clear the content and give me the chance to put another piece. So this is good, right? So check care has been posted there. So this is how you do it. So let's quickly go back and finish the rest of the code. So what I want now, I want to get the code for Premix. Right, this is let's get it. Then from there, I'll go to my previous pattern here and I'll put that code. And I'll just change, since we are starting in row, okay, we are starting in row 2, so I'll maintain row 2, right? Then it is txt name, okay, txt name, which is number 1, and it is txt id, which is in row 2. Right, so my previous has been taken care of. So save this one. Quickly, I'll go to my next button, check this code here. Okay. So once you create one program for this, the rest of the programs are very, very easy because it's almost the same, just change on few areas. So we are in sheet what? Okay, we are in sheet 2. Okay, so we're doing the next. We're in sheet 2. Okay, so we need to change in here so that it can show what we are really talking about, registration. Okay, registration. Okay, the registration system. And also I need to change in here. I need to put the same user registration system. Okay, and like that. So the data should go. Okay, just change it. Okay, so text name is the one that is controlled by cell number 1.1. And then text ID is cell number 2. Yes, correct. So this is correct now. So quickly, let me also sort out in advance the clear button. Okay, the clear button, which is this one. The clear button is more like the reset, but we have to just explicitly indicate it on the button. Okay, so if once you can call the reset for this, it's basically the same. So what I'll do is, instead of doing this, since we've got a method here, which is the resetting, which is not the same, so I can just call it. Okay, you can just call a reset here. So I'll just say call reset like that. Okay, so it can do what we want. So just like in here, we just call the reset. Okay, so just for the reset will do what we want. So now let's quickly look at the delete. Okay, look at the delete button here. The delete button, check this code here. Okay, as I mentioned, once you undo one program of this nature, you find that the rest is over because you just change few things. This is what we appreciate about modern programming. You don't have to do everything from scratch. So we're going to say every time that someone clicks on delete, there should be a message to say, are you sure you want to delete the record? If the answer is yes, then the entire record will be deleted. Then you clear, okay, you clear what? The text name, and you also clear what? You clear the text ID, and then you set focus on the name. So very simple. Once you undo one, the rest are very easy for you. So now, if you look at the cancel button, okay, the close button, we're trying to cancel it. So in this way, we are going to basically just put me.add, right? Me.add, because we want to just hide it. So just say me.add. It will do what we want, right? So this code will be hiding. Once you click on the button, it's supposed to. So basically, you have put all the code in all the buttons. So now let's see how we can apply this. So we click on this one. If want, we can test next. So let's just try to apply all. I need to apply this one. So stop it. Meantime, let me check what's happening there. Okay. So in sheet 2, we move to next. Right. Good. No, so it's okay. It's okay. So before that, let's try to add some data there. So let me put queen. Okay, pair mark. I'll put pair mark there. Now click on add. Okay, it has been added. So this is something in. Okay, if you click on clear, it's supposed to clear the data. Okay, if I click on close, I'm supposed to close. Okay, so the data has been put there. Okay, the data has been put there. So now, if you want, you can actually add or delete what is there. Now, in this case, it will be a bit challenging to straight away have this do the next, okay, and the previous, because this is open where the sheet for storage is not there. So if we want to see, okay, what is in there, we need to actually activate, okay, this in the user table, right? But as we are speaking, the content is actually in this data. Every time that you put the data there, you find that the web will be entered into the database, okay, in this table that you can see from here, right? So basically, this is a system that can help you to do one or two things, okay? That is very, very helpful in Excel and able to execute the program according to what you really want the system to do. Right, so now let's quickly check on this one. Right, let's quickly check on this one. Okay, check on this one. It's doing what we want. It's doing what we want. That's good. It's doing what we want to find. So the code is already. Okay, so this is very good. So as we are actually trying to understand the work, okay, of done here, you can see when the form loads, this is what will be coming here. Code will be coming in here. Okay, so find that what is okay, and just quickly load. Okay, then cell 1.1 or 2.1 will be assigned to this and so on and so forth. Right, so let me show something before I actually move forward. I want to show something on what we are talking about. Okay, so let's say sheet 2, right? I put sheet 2 there. Let's see how this will work, right? Because the data now is in sheet 2. So if you go there, right? Come here, click on this one. You find that the data now appears there. So in this case now, okay, you can actually, okay, even there, you need to do the same. Because if you have noticed, after putting that code, now when the form loads, it will be showing this. So as I said, using the previous and the next button for me, because what is active at the moment, the sheet which is active is sheet 1, the home sheet. So to do the previous and the next, we need to activate sheet 2 for us to be able to see what is there and able to delete. Right. And that can be done very easily without any difficulties, because the code that you're looking at is not so complex. As for now, let's just work with this and able to practice and appreciate what I've looked at here. As I said, as you program and able to look at these details further, you discover that you can do a lot of things with it. So as for now, this is how we can end. I think I'll quit. I'll click on quit so the program can end, and this is it.